Hey, so it has been a minute since I've done a video, and this message that I heard hurt, inspired, challenged, insulted, like every emotion you can have. I kind of felt it, and I'm like, I cannot be the only person, so I have to ask, because it's like, man, like, really? Can't be just me. So is anyone else, or has anyone else grown up without any kind of like financial literacy? That was me. No financial literacy growing up. Nothing, of course, obviously negative on my parents. They did the best they could with the bajillion kids that they had. Well, it was five of us girls. So let's just say that teaching us financial literacy was probably not at all on their radar. And we lived in a time where you couldn't like literally have things at your fingertips. It was just a different time. That sounds really strange saying that. Like, I'm really not that old, but I am, but I'm not. Anyway, so fast forward, being a young mom, all of these things, and I'm like, I really didn't know that I didn't know these things. And we live in a time where everything is instant gratification. Everything is, there's always something new. Like, I heard that the iPhone 15 is coming out. I don't know when, but I was the person that was always upgrading my phone. I wanted a new car, and I got a new car, and the list goes on and on. Like, we're never really satisfied. And this message that I heard hurt me in the way that, how many of you have bought things or purchased things or leased things or put your investment financially into things that are in the trash, you no longer have, you forgot that you had it. Maybe you moved and you're like, oh, I was looking for that once upon a time and completely forgot. Like, just stuff that has just become so obsolete in your life. And it's like, many of us have over the years accumulated credit card debt that you paid 85 times more than you should have had to pay because you just instant gratification. And I'm listening to this message and I'm like, thank God I finally changed over the last several years, where I'm like, all this stuff is kind of like not meaningless, but do I really want these things? Like, of course, in the moment I'm like, of course I want that thing from Amazon, I need it. And it's like, how many things have I needed from Amazon that literally went into the trash expeditiously after getting it? And so over the past several months, less than a year, I have been really evaluating my life and my impact and all of that, because depending on where you live, especially here in Atlanta, of course, New York, but you see homeless people, you see people who are struggling. I'm not talking about the panhandlers. I'm talking about people who you would literally see them on the street, and I've seen them, know that they're living on the street. But had you not seen them under the bridge, you literally would have thought they came out of the club. They came out of some executive office, like people like you and me. And I think COVID did a number on leveling the playing field in a sense of the haves and the have-nots. And obviously making better financial decisions is a part of that. And this message really made me think, what am I doing with the resources God has given me? Do I spend it frivolously, or am I being intentional? And I can say yes and yes and no and no. Like, I can say all of that. And I think there's a level of, God is a good father, and he, wants his kids to have good things, but there's also a level of, how do I want to say this? We can be bratty kids and we want things and we want them now, and we're not thinking of the next person, let alone the next year, 6 months, 5 years from now, that we're not going to need it. And there's so many people that are in need of things that we have, that things that we're just buying and just carelessly just throwing away, giving away. And it's like, we have an opportunity right now to be a blessing, to help, to help. And so my challenge is to myself And obviously, if you decide to take this challenge, take this intentionality of thinking, do I really need this? Okay, do you need this? If you've decided that, do I need this in the next 6 months, 6 years, all of that? Or if maybe you've brought something, you're like, you know what, I really don't need this anymore. Maybe re-gift it to someone else. Maybe donate it to someone that you may know that is in need. But I say that all to say, we really are blessed. Like, I know that's such a cliche thing to say, and there are so many people that are suffering, but we really have, I think, for the most part, especially if you're watching this video, have everything that we need. We have food, we have clothing, we have shelter, and I think that's literally all that we need. All that we want never ends. It just doesn't. There's always something new, something glossy, something that catches our eye that we want to have, that we cannot live without, and eventually many times becomes obsolete. So I'm going to share the podcast for the message that I'm referring to, so you can take a look for yourself. And if you do, or listen, because it's not a video, if you listen and if you listen to it, I would love to hear your feedback. But again, I was challenged, I was inspired. Oh, my hair. I was so many things, and I'm just trying to consciously be aware of the impact that I'm making, because it's not just about me, myself, and I. Sorry, squirrel. Went to a song in my head. So again, if you listen to the message, I would love to hear your thoughts. Or if you just watch the video and you're like, I'm not really interested in listening to the message, I highly encourage it. However, I do want to hear your feedback.